Come on, guys, let's learn AWS S3 today. This is the first AWS service I'm going to cover in this channel. So, more videos on AWS, DevOps, and cloud is on pipeline. So, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And let's start with the AWS S3 now. So, let's start with the first chapter. Here, we are going to learn what is S3 and other basic operations like uploading files, downloading files, deleting the files, then copy, move. These basic operations we are going to cover. So, let's start with that. So to learn S3, first you should log in into AWS console. So I have already logged into AWS consoles. And if you don't have an AWS account, then first you should create an AWS account. For that, you can just in any browser, I can search for AWS console, and you can click on the link AWS management console. Then there is an option called as register or create a new account. Here you can see create an AWS account. You can click on that. Once you click on that, you have to sign up with your email address, and you can give account name. Then it will ask for your debit card details, address details, those things. But I'm not going to show that now because I have already created an AWS account. So just you have to follow 4 5 simple steps. You can create an AWS account in just in 5 10 minutes. You can create an account. Once you created, you can log in using your email root email address and password, or you can create a new IAM user also. I will show that later. So for now, I have already logged into AWS account. Then to create an S3 bucket, first you have to search for S3 service. So in AWS, this is the AWS dashboard, and there will be a search bar. And in search bar, you can search for any AWS service. So like S3 or any AWS service, you can search for those service. Then you can click on that particular service. Once you clicked on that service, it will go to your S3 service page. So first, what is S3? It is S3 is a storage service, so we can store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. So we can consider the S3 as a online secured hard disk. So uh, so then you can store any type of files like photos, videos, any documents, anything you can store in S3. So definitions like Amazon S3 is an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. So you can consider it's like a generally you can consider like a secured online hard disk, and you can store any type of files there. So I will explain more on S3 later. Let's first create a S3 bucket now. So for to create a new bucket, we have the option called as create bucket here, and you can click on create bucket. So bucket name, you can give any name, test bucket, learning, something I can give here. And this bucket name should be globally. So if I create a S3 bucket with this name, then you can't create a same bucket with the same name. So it should be globally unique. So remember that. Then I will explain these things later. So then you can just go ahead and click on create bucket. So it gives me an error because this name is already exist, because someone already used this name to create a bucket. So I can give any other name. I will just add it to 026. So now I can click on create bucket. So bucket name should be unique, globally unique. And one more thing before creating bucket we have to consider is the region. So here which region you want to create a bucket, like region is nothing but in each region, AWS have multiple their multiple physical data centers. So in which data center or in the which region you want to create that bucket, or any for any service, you can choose the region first, then you can create a service or service on that particular region. Now I have created a bucket in this Mumbai region, Asia Pacific, AP South one. So if you want to create any service on any other region, then you can switch to that region. For example, go to US East 2, and here if I go to S3, then I can create a new bucket on this region also. So like that you can create services on different regions. For now I have created in Mumbai region, so I will switch back to Mumbai region only, and I will continue in this video. I will stick to AP South 1 region only. So once you created a bucket, then what next? Next we have to add files. So you can click on that bucket, and here we have the option to upload files. Either you can add files or you can directly add a folder. First I will add file, and if I want to add these files, then I can select those files, then open. So this, then click on upload. This will upload the files to S3. So now if I go to that bucket, I have 3 files now. Similarly, I can upload the folder also. I can upload and add folder and select the folder, then upload. Upload. So now 3 files and 1 folder is uploaded now. You can see these 3 are files, and this public is the folder, and inside that folder there is one more file. So like this, if you want to upload a file, any type of files you can upload. Like I uploaded JSON file now, and one is README file, one is JS files. Any image, videos, anything you can upload here like this. Let's learn some basic operation on these files in S3 now. I'm going to do operations like copying files, moving files, deleting files, those things. So for that, I will create one more bucket to copy these files to that bucket. So for that, I will create one more bucket, test copy bucket. Bucket name should be unique, so I will add any numbers after the bucket name so that it should be unique. So then I will click on create bucket. So now 2 buckets will be created. So if I refresh this, so 2 bucket is created now. So now if I want to copy the files from one bucket to another bucket, then I can select those files or folders, anything you can. I will select one file and one folder, then go to actions. There is option called as copy. You can click on copy, then you can choose the destination here. For choosing destination, you can directly copy the S3 URL, or you have the option called as browse S3, and you can go back to S3 buckets. You can select the target bucket. Once you click select that, then you can click on copy. Click on copy. So now the files will be copied to target bucket. I'll go ahead and close this. And if I go to buckets, and the bucket created now, this was the recent bucket, copy bucket, and you can see now the both the folder and the file is copied to target bucket. So this is how you can create bucket, copy the files from one bucket to another bucket. Like this, you have the option to move the files also. Like go to first bucket, and if I want to move this server.js file to that bucket, then the file will be moved. Means in the source it will be deleted. If you do copy, it will in source also the files are there. Files will be there. So click on actions, then we have the option to move, similar to copy. You can choose the destination here. You can browse S3 and click on S3 buckets and click on copy bucket and choose that bucket and then click on move. Now if I close this and if I go to my source bucket, that server.js file is deleted here. And if I go to destination bucket, here that server.js file is added. This is the basic operation like copy and move. You can copy and move the file to the same bucket also. For example, if I want to uh, copy this server.js file inside this public folder or move this server.js file to this public folder, then I can click on that and select move. And if I want to move that to public folder, then browse S3, then select public folder, then choose move. So that server.js file should be moved to public folder now. If I close this, see now that server.js file is not there in root folder, and if I click on public folder, that file is there now. So this is how we can copy or move the file from one bucket to another bucket, or inside a bucket if you want to copy to another folder, then you can do that also. Next, if you want to download file from S3 to your local, then you have the option called as download option here. Download. So you can select that file, then click on download. So that file will be downloaded now. This package.json will be downloaded to my downloads folder. If I go to downloads, you can see that package.json file. And one more thing, if you want to download multiple files, you can't do that from the console. We have to use AWS CLI or some other options. So I'm going to show AWS CLI option also later. For now, if you want to download one file, then you can select that file and you can click on download. That is on download. Then if you want to delete this file, so delete the entire bucket, then you can, if you want to delete one object or one file, then you can click on that and you can delete that. And while deleting, it will ask for permanently delete. You can select for permanent delete. You can type permanently delete here, then delete objects. So this is how you can delete one object, or if you want to select delete multiple objects, then select those object and click on delete. Or if you want to empty bucket at once, then you can select that bucket, and if you click on empty, then all the contents on that particular files will be deleted. All subfolders, everything will be deleted. So I can empty that folder first. And also there are two options. One is empty and another one is delete. So if I go select that bucket and if I want to delete that bucket, if I click on delete option, it will not allow you to delete that bucket because the bucket is not empty. So if the bucket is empty only, then only you can delete that particular bucket. So before deleting the bucket, you have to empty that bucket. So click on that, select that bucket, empty that first, then you can delete it later. So type permanently delete and empty. So the bucket is empty now. Now if I can select that bucket and I can click on delete. While deleting, it will ask for the bucket name. Then you can type that bucket name here. So delete bucket. So if I now you can see only one bucket is there. That first bucket is deleted now. This is how you can empty and delete the bucket. So that's it for chapter 1. We have covered the basic operations here. Let's go for chapter 2 now. So in this next chapter, we are going to learn what is the importance of tags and metadata in S3 and how we can create those. Let's start that now. let's learn tags now. To learn tags, I will create a new bucket and I will name it as tag bucket. And I can add 2026 also to make it unique. Then I have the option for tags here. So tags are optional, but it's a best practice to add tags for all the resources you have created in AWS. So tags, what I can add, like project. So if you're working on some project and this project is this bucket is related to that project, then I can add that tag or department. Like this, you can add many tags. So general use cases like tags are very useful in case of budgeting. So for example, if multiple teams are using this same AWS account at that time, you will get to know, for example, if you have added your team tag on all the resources that are created by your team, then you will get to know what is the exact cost related to your particular team. So, so budgeting is very useful if you are adding the tags for all the resources that you are created. So please add tags while creating any new resources. So then I can create bucket. So now I've added the new tag. Also, once I created that bucket, also I can add new tags for that particular bucket. If I can go to properties, then there will option for tags and can search for tags. Then I can edit and I can modify these tags if there are some mistakes. Then I can modify that, or I can add new tag also, like for example client. So this particular bucket is for particular client. Then I can add that tag here. Then save changes. So like this, I can add or remove the tags after creating the bucket also. So similarly, tags can be added to particular object. Object is nothing but any file or folder. So if I go to that particular bucket and if I upload some files, then while uploading the files also I can add the tags. I have the option called as add tag here and I can give a tag here, ABC1. So like this, you can add the tags while uploading the files also. And if you want to modify the tags later, then I can go to that particular object. And if I scroll down, you will have the option to modify the tags also. Edit, then tag, I can modify this or I can add new tag. One or like this, I can add tags. And if I want to add tags for multiple objects at once, I can do that also. I can select all the objects I needed. If I want to add a similar tag for all the objects, then I can select all the objects in that particular bucket and I can go to action, then edit tags. And for multiple files, if you are adding the tags, then only you can add tags. You can't edit the tags earlier you have added. So for example, I want to add a new tag called BU, or I can say business unit, something, some values. So this tag will be added to all the objects that are present in particular bucket now. So that's it about tags. So you can add that for bucket or object, and at a time multiple files also you can add. Those are the operations you can do on tags in terms of bucket. Then I will go to metadata now. So metadata is nothing but I can call it as object metadata. It's descriptive data that describe the object basically. So while uploading the object or any file also I can add this metadata. So metadata is also like key value pair value only. So for example, if I want to upload this file and while uploading the file, if I want to add any metadata, Then I can go to properties and add metadata. So metadata, there are two types of metadata. One is system defined and another one is user defined. System defined, we have multiple system defined keys only, like content type, cache control, expires, content language, this type of keys. If for example I can do a content type, and content type, like you have seen, like you might have seen like application slash JSON, something like that. So like API headers kind of things, those headers I can add in metadata. And also I can use the any user defined metadata also. And user defined metadata always comes with the xcmz hyphen meta. Then I can add anything. For example, author, and I can give a value for that. So like this, I can add the metadata while uploading the file. Also, I can add, or after uploading the object, also I can modify that particular metadata. So these files I have added metadata, and if I want to modify that, can go to metadata and edit. If I want to remove that, I can do that, or if I want to add any other metadata, I can add. So like this, I can add the metadata section. So metadata is very helpful in application like API header and other things. Otherwise, like tags, these are the key value pair action. So that's it about adding tags and metadata. Next, I will show the CLI, AWS CLI, how we can do the S3 operations using CLIs. Now we are going to learn AWS S3 CLI. So here we are going to learn all the operations we have done on previous chapter via CLI. So let's start that now. So let's see AWS CLI now. So for CLI, first you have to install AWS CLI. So you can to install, like you can go to any browser and search for AWS CLI install. You can open the document and choose the platform you're using. I'm using Windows, so download that installer. Once it is downloaded, I can proceed with the installation. So once it is downloaded, just click on double click on the installer, so it will start installing. So accept the license agreement and other things, and keep everything default and click on install. So it will ask for admin permission, then click on install. So once that is installation is done, then click on finish. So once the installation is completed, then you can open any command line. You can use CMD, or I have opened Git bash. So you can use any CLI, then just check whether AWS is installed or not. For that, you can run AWS version. So AWS CLI is installed. So now I can go ahead and run AWS commands now. So first thing we have to do is you have to authenticate your local to AWS account. So AWS credentials are required. So for that, first thing I have to configure the AWS credential. For that, I have to run command called as AWS config. So it will ask access key ID and other things. For that, first I have to create a user in AWS account. I will show that now. So to create user in AWS, we have a service called as IAM. You can search for IAM, and IAM means identity and access management. So for any access related service, we have to use IAM. So I can create a new user now, like CLI user or something, so that I can authenticate that user from my CLI. So click on create user. I can give a username. We'll Just give a CLI user, provide user access to the AWS management console also. I want to give AWS management console access also. Then you can click on next. Just click on next. This will take a okay. So before clicking next, I don't have any identity center or something. So I want to create an IAM user here. I can choose that. And then auto-generated password or custom password. I will check. Go ahead with the auto-generated password, and user must create a new password while signing in. Okay. Then I can click on next. I can add user to any group, or I can attach the any policies required. I can just attach the policies, and I can attach all the policies. Is for now for is the test user. That's why I did like that. But you can check which policy required and other things. So next, create user. So it will start creating the user. So once it is done, I can click on view user. So new user is created. That is CLI user now. If I click on users, there are two users. One is admin and another is CLI user. This user I have created now. So for now, I need for AWS configure. I need access key ID and security secret key. For that, I can click on security credential, and here I can create an access key here. Create access key, and this is needed for command line. So see it. Select CLI and click on next. So this will start. I can describe I can add a tag value here, then create access key. Once that is created, then I can download the access keys. CLI keys, then click on create access key. So then you can download a CSV file from that access key. So once the access keys are downloaded, then you can open that. Just open that with any notepad or something. Don't open with Excel, because when you copy from Excel to your CLI, it will not take any special character. So it might result in permission denied or some error. So open that with any notepad or something. Then copy the access key and secret key to the your AWS configure command. So I entered the AWS access key and secret key. I have added those two things. After that, it will ask for the configure command will ask for a default region. So region I can choose. I am using Mumbai now, so I can choose AP South 1. So I have copied that AP South 1 region, and I have added that into my configure command AP South 1. So that is added. Then default output format we can add anything. So I have just added as JSON. So now it is configured. Now if I run AWS S3 command, it should work. For example, if I run AWS S3 ls, then it should uh, list the bucket that are there in my AWS account. It will list the bucket in the default region. What I have given, that is AP Southern. So AP Southern, these two buckets are there. So those two buckets will be listed. And if I can verify that also. So if I can go to S3, there should be two buckets. Yeah, tag bucket and test copy bucket. So here you can say tag copy and test copy bucket. So to list the buckets, we have the command called as AWS S3 LA. So now next create S3 bucket from CLI. So in CLI, what I am going to do is whatever I have done last two chapters, like creating tags or metadata, then copying the file, uploading file, creating bucket. Those actions I have now I am going to perform using CLI now. So first thing is I have to create a bucket using CLI. So AWS S3 To create bucket, we have a command called as mb, make bucket. So AWS S3 mb, then I can give a bucket name to S3 colon double slash, then the bucket name I can give. So CLI bucket. Then optionally, I can add the region also. If you don't provide the region, it will take the default region, that is AP South one, that is Mumbai. Otherwise, it's a best practice is like always give the region. Then you can run that. So there is an error now. So to create AWS S3 make bucket, then S3 colon previous command I gave semicolon, I think that's why it gave an error. So S3 colon and CLI bucket, and bucket name should be unique. So I can add something like 2026. So then I can give a region AP South 1. So it should create a bucket now. So make bucket. So CLI bucket to the 26 is created now. I can check from the AWS console now. So in AWS console also, if I go to buckets, I can see 3 buckets now. That is one is CLI bucket, tag bucket, and test copy. So bucket is created now. I can verify from CLI also, like AWS S3 LS. It should list 3 buckets now. You can see 3 buckets are there now. So like this, you can create a bucket from AWS CLI. So now how I can upload file from my local to my AWS S3 bucket. For that, I have the command called as AWS S3 CP. Now in this directory, I have a couple of files. These 3 files I have. I want to upload these 3 files to the empty bucket that I have created now. That is learn AWS. CLI bucket. So this CLI bucket, I don't have any files now. And if I want to upload these 3 files to AWS S3, I can run a command called as AWS S3 cp. Then the files, the source location is in this directory only. So I can give just dot to where? To the bucket, that is S3. What is the bucket name? CLI bucket 2026. I can copy that. So upload failed. There is some issues. Invalid key. Okay. Let's copy one file first. So to copy one file, I can just instead of cp dot, I can give one file name. For example, server.js. If I upload this, yeah, there is uploaded now. So file is uploaded now. And if I refresh this, there should be one file now. Yeah, server.js is there. So I can run S3ls command here also, like AWS S3ls. If I run AWS S3ls, it will list buckets. If I want to see the content of particular bucket, then AWS S3ls, then the bucket name. So it should list one file, that is server.js. So file upload we can do like this. And we have another command also, like AWS S3 cp, and all this command. And instead of server.js, I can give all the files, and I have the option called as recursive. So it should upload all the files. So here you can see it uploaded all the files now. Earlier it was failed, but now if I use recursive, it will upload all the files. So if I refresh now this, all the files should be uploaded. So now I have added one more folder called as public. Now I want to push the folder. For that also same command it will work, like AWS S3 recursive command. So it should upload the upload my folder also. So now for my folder is also uploaded, public folder. So if I refresh this now, so for three files, one folder is there now. And if I can run AWS S3 ls command also to check that. So this command will list all the contents in that particular bucket. So you can see one is public, that is the directory, and all three are the files. And for example, if I want to do vice versa, like I want to download the files from the bucket, at that time I can do voice command is like AWS S3. Then I can give a source is my bucket and the destination will be my local location. So I have already have the files in this folder. So to avoid that, I will just create one more folder called as download, and I am going to download all the files here. In download folder, there are no other files. So now if I want to download from S3, I can run a command called as AWS S3 cp the source. Cp command always source first and destination. Earlier while uploading, source is my local location and destination will be source S3 bucket. Now my source is S3 bucket. So I have to give the location of that bucket. I can just give AWS S3 cp, then colon, then CLI bucket 2026. I can give that bucket name. After that, I can give the this source location, that destination location, that I can do to the current directory. And I want to do recursive. I want to download everything. So it should download all the files now, file folder, everything. So it downloaded. And if I run ls, all three files and one folder is there. So this is how you download files. And then if you want to copy file from one bucket to another bucket, then how I can do that? Now I will create one more bucket and I will copy all these files from one bucket to another bucket. So I will create bucket. To create bucket, we have the command AWS S3 MB, then the bucket name. You can give CLI copy 2026. And I want to give a region, I want to copy to different region. So for example, US East 1. So this bucket will be created in US East 1 now. And I want to copy the content of my Mumbai region bucket to the US East 1 bucket. So now if I run AWS S3 ls, it will give the CLI copy 2026 bucket as well. Now if I go to my region, that is US East 1. So if I click on buckets, here you can see this is the bucket CLI copy 2026. This is the bucket that is there in US East 1 region. All others are there in Mumbai region. Now I want to copy the file from one region to another region. For that, I have the command called AWS S3 cp. Then source is my CLI bucket. This is the source. Then destination will be my another bucket. That is CLI copy. I want to copy everything, so I can give recursive also. Even error, I think I added extra space there. Here, you can remove that space, then enter. So it copied all the contents now. So if I go to CLI bucket, sorry, not CLI bucket, copy bucket, right? So go to buckets, and CLI copy 2026. Then you can see all the contents now. So all three files on one folder is there now. I can check that in here also AWS S3 ls, then this bucket, copy bucket. So it will list all the contents now. Yeah. So this is how you can copy from one bucket to another bucket from the CLI. Now let's see how we can move the files. I will clear the screen, then I will create one more bucket, that move bucket, AWS S3 make bucket, and S3, you can give a bucket name, CLI move. Then you can your region also. I want to create an AP South one only. Then it will create a bucket now. A new bucket is created, and if I want to move the files, I have the command called as AWS S3 MV. Instead of CP, I have MV now. And I want to move all the content from that copy bucket that is there in my US Eastern region, and I want to move that all the files from this to my Mumbai bucket. Move bucket, let's say. Move this. So I have to give S3 colon like this. Then to this bucket, the newly created bucket. And so I have to copy everything, so I can give recursive option. So it will move the files now from this bucket to another bucket. Once it is moved, all the files will be deleted in a CLI copy bucket. So if I go here and if I refresh this, all these files should not be there now, because files should be moved now to another bucket. So there are no files. It's loading, it's showing loading objects. So there are no objects here now. And if I go to my move bucket, it is this. All the content should be there here now. See, all the files are there. Now, how can I delete the bucket? For delete the bucket, I have the command called as AWS S3 RB, and I can delete this bucket, CLI copy. So if I delete that bucket, if I run this command, that bucket should be deleted now. So remove bucket, and if I go to buckets list, that copy bucket should be removed now. So this copy bucket is not there now. And if I want to remove this move bucket also, then for that I can same command AWS S3 RB, and I can give this move bucket name. I think it should fail now. Yeah, it is failed, and it gave one valid bucket name. Okay, so I gave 3 slash again. So now also it should fail actually. Yeah, remove bucket failed because it has contents now. This is not an empty bucket. So only you can delete an empty bucket. So earlier showed in console also. First we have to empty bucket, then we can delete the bucket. You can force delete this bucket. If I add force, it should delete the content and bucket also. Say F1 force, then it should delete the bucket. Yeah, first it deleted all this content, then it deleted the bucket also. So if you want to delete an empty bucket, you can just run AWS S3 RV. If you want to delete the content and bucket, then you can run AWS S3 RV with the -F1 force flag. So that is removing the bucket. Now if I want to remove one particular file, then I have the command called as AWS S3 RM. So I will show that. So I will list one of the file, one of the buckets contents now, AWS S3 ls. It will list the bucket names. Then AWS S3, ls, and one of the bucket, for example, CLI bucket. If I list that, okay, it didn't paste it. AWS S3, ls, and the bucket content of this bucket. I have to give S3 URL. So go to AWS S3 ls. These four files are there. I want to delete server.js. Then I can run a command called AWS S3 rm. Then the bucket name is this. Then slash the file name, for example, server.js. .js. If I run this command, that server.js file is deleted now. Now if I run again AWS S3 ls, should be two files and one folder should be there. Similarly, I can remove the folder also. Public folder, if I want to delete, I can give public and I have to give recursive. Folder with all the contents. So this is but public folder is deleted now. Now if I run AWS S3 ls again, it should list only two files. Yeah, readme and package.json. So this is how we can delete the files from using AWS S3 rm command. So while uploading the file only, you can add the metadata, object metadata, what I showed in console. I can do that while uploading the file from local to S3 bucket. For that, I have the command called AWS S3 cp. Then I want to copy one bucket, one file, that is for example server.js. Again, I have only two files are there. Now I want to copy again the server.js file to same bucket. Then I can add one more command called as -hyphen metadata. Then I can add the metadata here. For example, metadata like uh, author equal to Sandesh, something like that. And if I want to add one more metadata like client equal to ABC. So if I want to add this metadata to my bucket, I can not my bucket for this object basically server.js metadata. We generally add it to the object. That's why it is called as object metadata. So if I run this, so this is uploaded now, and that server.js file should have this metadata now. I can go here, and if I check that CLI bucket, three files now, server.js is uploaded, and server.js should have the metadata too now. So you can see the metadata. This system defined metadata, it will be there always, and the user defined metadata, these two I have added. One is author, another one is the client. I have explained earlier, user defined metadata always add some key initially, prefix xamg meta, then the key I have given, that is author and client. So this is how I can add metadata to my files from CLI. There is one more command called as sync. So sync means to synchronize my local to my bucket or my bucket to my local location. It should, if I need a sync between these two locations, then I can run command called AWS S3 sync. And if I want to sync two buckets also, then I can run AWS S3 sync command. So it is like a copy only, but it is like sync the location basically. It will update the files too. So AWS S3 sync, and then I can run a command, the file name, sorry, bucket name, AWS S3 sync current location source. I want to sync my source location to my bucket. It is this bucket. Paste this. So this should run now. So public this folder is synced to this location now. So there is no need to run -hyphen recursive here. You can just run sync. So it is synced now. And I can do vice versa also. And if I, for example, if I modified some file, for example, readme md, and now if I add sync, then it will sync this file only. If I run again this, so it is uploaded this file to this because I have changed this file. So it should be synced to my remote location, that is this bucket location. Do vice versa also. For example, if I add one more file here and do AWS S3 sync to local, then that file should be added to my local also. For example, I want to upload some file here now. Upload file and add files. Okay, I want to upload this only the style files. So if I upload, it will be uploaded to my bucket. And now if I want to sync my local with this bucket, they can do vice versa. Like AWS S3 sync my sources bucket and the target will be current location. So it should string only that style files. This is how we can sync two buckets, two locations. And if I want to do one bucket to another bucket sync, then I can do that also. So I will create one more bucket called a sync bucket. Then I will sync on that bucket to this CLI bucket. So AWS S3 MD, then the bucket name. What is the bucket name? I can give sync bucket, sync 2026. Then, okay, I don't give the region, it will take the default region. So this is the bucket I have created. Now, if I want to sync this to CLI bucket to this dot is not required. So this should copy all the file from this CLI bucket to sync bucket. This is how you can and if I upload one file to one of the bucket and if I again run sync, that also will be synced to this bucket. This is how you can sync two buckets. And now, for example, if I delete one file here local, then if I sync, then it should delete the content from my bucket also, right? Well, if I delete another file now, and that is style files I have deleted. Now, if I run sync again, dot to this bucket, CLI bucket, it did nothing. File is deleted, but still, if I go here and CLI bucket, the file is there. It should be there. Here you can see style folder file is still there. Even if I refresh also, the style file it should be there now. You can see style file is still there. So if I delete and if I do sync, it will not work. But to make it work, I can give a command called -hyphen delete also. If I do this, then it should work. So you can see this file is deleted. And if I go here and if I refresh the screen now, the style file is deleted now. So this is how if you delete the file and if you want to sync, then you can add a flag called as -hyphen delete. And there is something called as filter. Filter is nothing but like if you want to upload only JSON files. For example, if, in this folder, I have some 100 files and I have some 10 JSON files out of that 100 files. And if I want to upload only JSON files, or if I want to exclude all the JSON files and I have to add other 90 files, at that time these filters will very helpful. We'll show that now. For that, I will create one more bucket called filter bucket, S3 MB and S3 filter 2026 bucket. So I'll create one more bucket now. Now what I am going to do is AWS S3 CP. I want to upload all my files to this bucket, but except JSON files. I don't want to upload this package.json. For that, I have the command called as exclude. Exclude which content I can give star.json. Star.json. So it will upload all the files except this JSON files. By default, it will upload all the files. And if I want to exclude, I can give a command called as exclude. Then I can give a recursive also because I want to upload all the files except JSON. So only these three are copied now. So if I go here, see that filter bucket, I should not see that particular object. That JSON object should not be there. I refresh this. So this is the filter bucket. You can see only three contents are there. That JSON file is not there. This is how we can exclude content. And another thing is if I want to include only one file, then what I can do is if I do include, first I will remove all the contents from the bucket. For that, I have the command AWS S3 RM, then filter bucket. AWS S3 RM and all the files I want to delete. So file I can give, if I give star, not sure if it is works or not. Let's see star and I will give recursive. Unknown option, okay. Okay. Now I have deleted all the contents of this filter bucket, and if I want to include only one file now, then I can run AWS S3 CP and the bucket name. The bucket name is this filter bucket. And I have to give S3. Then AWS S3 CP is all the contents from here. And I want to do a recursive copy. Then I want to include only one file. This package.json. Will it work like this? Let's see. If I run this, it uploaded all the files. Instead of package.json, only package.json, it uploaded all the files because AWS S3 CP will first, by default, it will upload all the files. And if I add include also, it will not work. So for that, what I have to do is, so to include only the package.json, what I have to do is, I can do include package.json, but before that, I have to add one more command called as exclude everything star. So by default, it will include everything. Then I can add exclude everything. So it will by default now it will have 0 files. Then if I add include, it will include only package.json file now. So it uploaded only this file. So this is how you can use exclude and include options. So now I want to add tags from CLI. For that, and there is no direct AWS S3 command. I refer the documentation like AWS S3 tags CLI. So we have another command called AWS S3 API. So from this command, I can add the tags also. So if I go to this and if I check the examples, here I can see AWS S3 CPI put bucket tagging. Then I can choose the bucket and I can add the tagging. So for tagging, I have to pass a file called as JSON file. In JSON file, I can add the key value. Then it will add the tags to my bucket. I'm going to do this now. First, I will create a JSON file. So I can create a JSON file called CLI tag.json. Then I can add the content. Content will be like this. I can just copy this now. C, then paste it. I think that is not copied. We will copy it again. Finish those. Then syntax will be tag set. Then key and value. So key and value, I can remove that instead of organization. For example, if I want to add as department, and instead of marketing, I can give IT department. So like this, I can add the tag. And if I want to add one more tag, I can copy the same syntax. Then key, I can instead of department, I can add one more tag called as team. Then I can give just ABC. So this is how I can add tags in JSON file. Now next, run the command. Hopefully it will, the syntax is correct. Let's see that. For that, I will list the buckets to copy my bucket name to the command. So next I will copy this command. Now I will change the bucket name. There is no need to give S3 colon now because in S3 API there is no need to do that. You can just give the filter bucket. I want to tag this bucket with the file name. File name I think I gave CLI tag. So if I run this should add the tags to my bucket. So I have run that command. Let's see. So it didn't give any output, but if I go to S3 buckets, if I go to filter bucket, it should add the tags now. Go to properties. So you can see in tags, I have department ID and team is ABC. Like this, you can add the tags. And if I want to modify in those tags, then I can do that also. CLI tag, then I want to delete this. I don't want to add this tag. I want to remove that. Then I can do that too. And I want to add one more tag called as small client. Then I can do team. Instead of team, I can do client. And XYZ. So like this, I can add one more tag and I have removed the earlier tag. And also in team, I want to modify the value. Then I can do that also. So like this, I can add or remove my tags in a JSON file. Now I can run that command again. So there is some issues in the file. I have to modify that. Here I think in XYZ I have added two I will modify the file again. Now if I run, okay, everything is correct. If I run this again now, there is one more error. I think I have to add the comma here. But I missed, I think. So we'll do that. Here comma is there, okay. If I run this again, it should modify my tags now. So it didn't give any output, means all good. Now if I go here and if I refresh this page, this should update my tags now. See, this is updated now. Department is not there and team is changed, and one more tag called as client is added now. So this is how we can add the tags from using AWS CLI. So that's it about CLI. So that's the end of this chapter now. So next chapter we are going to learn how we can save cost in S3 using proper storage class or lifecycle rules. So let's start that now. So next thing we are going to learn is storage classes. So when you are uploading the object, you can choose the storage class of that object. So each storage class will have its own pricing. So let's see that while uploading the file. For example, if I want to upload this file, and while uploading the file, I should know how frequently I'm going to access this file. Based on that, I can select the storage class. If I go to properties while uploading the file, I will have different storage class here, so that I can select any storage class that I need. So by default, the storage class will be standard, and you are going to access this file frequently. And if you're, for example, if you're not going to access this file more than 30 days, then you can go for standard IA. IA means infrequent access. Or if you're not going to access this file more than 90 days, then you can go for glacier. So like this, you can change the storage class of this particular object. So for example, if you're just storing some log files, so log files you just want to store, but you don't want to access those files frequently, then you can choose for glacier, and the cost of these will be different. Like standard will have more price, more cost, because it gives the frequent access. And if you're choosing for in standard IA infrequent access, then it will be lesser price. Then glacier will be the least price. So like this, storage cost will be changed based on the storage class. So now I can choose standard. Standard will be by default. I can go for standard IA also if I am not going to access this for 30 days. I will choose standard, then I can change the storage class also later once I upload the file also. So I'm going to upload this file now. So once that is uploaded, if I go to storage class or properties, we'll go to that file first, that is style.css, then properties, then storage class. Here you can see it is in standard storage class. If I want to edit this into other storage class, then I can go ahead and edit that into standard IA. Then I can save my changes. So this is how I can change the storage class of particular file or particular object. Similarly, I can change it for a particular uh, folder also. For example, if I want to upload some folder now, upload and add folder. And if I want to upload images folder now, so upload some in files. So I have uploaded the images file, images folder. And if I go to properties, I can change the storage class of this particular folder also now. Can choose it standard IA, then I can upload. So the folders uh, storage class is changed now to standard IA. So if I go to that folder now, images folder, and its properties, it will not have any properties. But if I go to any object, it is in standard IA storage class. So all the object in this particular folder will have the standard IA access storage class. Like this, you can add the storage class for particular folder also. So once you change the storage class of particular folder, all the object inside that folder is also changed. The same thing we can do it via AWS CLI also. So in AWS CLI, if I open and clear the screen, and if I do ls, and I want to upload this file and I want to change this to while uploading, I want to set the storage classes standard IA. At that time, what I can do is AWS command is AWS S3 cp, and the file is store file I want to upload. Then I have to add the bucket name. Bucket name is, I think, CLI bucket 2026. Paste that. Then what I can do is I can give a command flag called as storage hyphen class. Then I can set it to standard hyphen IA. So it will start uploading the file. There is some issue in the okay invalid choice. It should be standard underscore IA, not hyphen. So file is uploaded now, and storage class should be standard IA. If I go ahead and refresh this page, the file is store file and storage class is standard IA. So like this, you can change the while uploading the file from CLI also, you can change the storage class. Similarly, while uploading the folder also, I can give a storage class subject flag. So if I do ls, there is a folder called as logs. I want to upload this file folder now. At that time, can do AWS S3 cp, and folder is logs. Then the same bucket, and the storage class I want to keep it as standard only. Later I will change. And also, if I while uploading the folder, I have to use the recursive option. So this will upload the bucket, upload the folder to my bucket. Now it's in standard storage class. Now what I want to do is, this is the logs folder, right? So generally application logs will access maybe last 30 days. So last 30 days, whatever the logs is there, I am going to access. So after 30 days, I am not going to access those logs. So at that time, what I can do is, after 30 days, I want these logs to change the storage class to standard IA. and after 90 days I want to move this storage class from standard IA to glacier. So like this, if I want to change the storage class automatically, then I have the option called as lifecycle in S3. I'm going to show that. If I go to any bucket and if I go to management, you have the option called as lifecycle rules. Here I can create lifecycle rule for my objects. So I can create lifecycle rule here and I can give a rule name like logs rule. Then limits the rule to this prefix I can give the logs folder I want to manage, and I can specify the minimum and maximum size also, but I'm not going to do that now. And the lifecycle rule actions, if I want to move the current version or previous versions, those things I can do here, but I have not explained the versions now. So I am going to move the current versions only. Later I will explain the versions, then that will be clear. So now, so after 30 days, I want to move the logs folder to standard IA, and I can add one more transition. And after 90 days, I want to go move that into Glacier. Or after 365 days, I want to move this to deep archive. So like this, I can set up. So automatically after 30 days, the storage class of logs folder will be changed to standard IA. After 90 days, it will be changed to the Glacier. So like this, I can manage so that my cost will be reduced. So logs folder, we will just store those files, but we are not going to access those files. So I can just move it to the Glacier or any lesser cost storage class. Then I can click on create rule. So I have to acknowledge this. Then I can create rule. So rule is created now. So like this, you can create a lifecycle rule, and this will apply to this particular bucket. And if I want to enable or disable those actions, I can do it. If I want to disable this rule, I can click on disable so that this rule will be not applied to this particular bucket now. And if I want to enable it back, I just click on that actions, enable rule. And if I want to delete, I can select and delete that particular rule. And if I want to edit it back, I can go back and edit. And if I want to add any one more folder, or I want to change the prefix, or if I want to add the previous version, or if I want to change the number of days, then I can click on edit and I can change that particular lifecycle rule. That's about lifecycle rule. Rule is a very interesting topic, and it's a very best practice. Every bucket should have the lifecycle rule is applied so that your budget or your cost will be lesser. So one more thing, when the file is moved to Glacier, you can't access that file directly, or if you can't download that file directly, you have to restore that first, then you can download that file. For example, this file, I will change the storage class to Glacier. Then I will save that change. So now the file is in Glacier state. And if I go to that file, that the download option is disabled now here. So if I want to restore this file from Glacier, then I have to initiate restore. Then I have to give the number of days. After these many days, this file will get deleted. I will give 5 days. Then I have three options. One is bulk retrieval. Bulk retrieval generally take 5 to 10 hours, and standard retrieval will takes 3 to 5 hours. Then expedited retrieval, it will takes 1 to 5 minutes. So for demo purpose, I am going to choose this. So I can retrieve this file very fast. So then I can click on initiate restore. Now the file should be restored. If I go to that file, it will take 1 to 5 minutes. So you can see the message here, restore is in progress. So it will take 1 to 5 minutes, then the file should be available. So let's wait for that. So now we can see restore is completed. The status is completed, and now I have the download option is enabled now. So now I can download this file. So like this, you can add the different objects into different storage class, and you can add a lifecycle rule for your bucket. And from this, by selecting the correct storage class and by adding correct lifecycle rule, uh, you can reduce the cost of your S3 storage, and you can save a lot of money from this. So now for now I am adding one or two files, but in organization it can be of GBs of files. So if you add correct storage class and lifecycle rule, then you can save a lot of money. So money is important, so save it by adding correct lifecycle rules and storage class. Let's go to next chapter now. So in this next chapter, we are going to learn permission and access levels. So we are going to cover three permission levels. One is access control list, ACL. Next is IAM policies. Next is S3 bucket policies. So let's start that now. Yes, let's start with accesses and permissions. First thing we are going to learn is ACLs, access control list. So I'll create one more bucket now to learn ACLs, and I can give a name. And using ACLs, I want to give a public access to the particular objects or particular bucket. So generally, by default, public access will be blocked. Later, I can remove that, and I can give the ACLs. I can enable right now, or I can enable this once I created a bucket also. So for now, I will enable that block public access. Then I will go ahead and create bucket. Later, I will edit that bucket, and I will change the ACL permissions. So bucket is created, ACL 2026. Then I can go for permissions. Then here you can see public access is blocked. And if I go to ACL, so bucket owner will have the list and write access. Now I want to give everyone, means public access to this particular bucket. For that, I have to edit this ACL. But this edit option is disabled now. I have to enable that first. For that, I can go here, bucket owner and post, and I should enable the ACL first. Then I can save those changes. I have to acknowledge this and save the change. So ACL is enabled. And now if I go to ACL and I have the edit option here, now I want to give list access to the public. So public users should be able to list. Then I go here and save the changes. I have to acknowledge this first. Then if I save changes, still it's giving the permission error, permission denied error. So for that I have to modify the permissions first. So go to ACL 2026, then permissions. In this block public access is there, right? There we have to change this too. I have to disable it. So I will disable everything. I will disable these two options, block access ACLs. Then if I save this change, confirm this. Now if I go to ACL and if I try to edit this and give list access to public, then enable this and save changes. Now it is saved. So ACL is enabled now. Similarly, while uploading the file or folders also, I can add the ACLs for the object also. So I'm going to upload some folder for this particular bucket now. and I can go to my learn AWS folder, and I want to upload some images, files, and other things. So images folder is not there here. So if I go here and choose Node.js Docker, I think images folder is there here. If I upload that, here in permissions, I can choose the ACLs here also, like whether it is private or if I want to enable the public access, public read access. Those things I can enable here, but I'm not going to do anything now. I will upload this first with the default permissions. So those files are getting uploaded now. So upload is done, and now the bucket I have the public access, and objects still ACL is by default ACL only. So if I try to access one of the file, and if I click on object URL here, so I get the option error called as access denied. So object don't have the public access. But same thing, if I click on this object URL again, and if I remove this images part, and if I give the URL till the bucket name, then the result, it will list the all the files in particular bucket, because public access is enabled for listing these objects in bucket ACL. In bucket ACL, I have enabled for list permission for public access. For that reason, I'm able to see the result here. If I enter the only bucket URL, if I add the if I enter the object URL, I got the access denied error. Now I can add the ACL for this particular object also. For that, I can go to permissions, and I can edit this, and I want to give the read access for this particular object to public. Then I can enable this and save changes. Now if I go to this particular object URL, the image is loaded now. So this image is publicly accessible. So like this, I can give the access to the particular object and particular bucket to the public using ACLs. So ACL is not a recommended option. You should not enable this. But for learning, I have enabled ACLs now. Now, for example, if I disable this ACL on bucket level, if I go to permission and if I edit this, and if I block everything now, if I save these changes, confirm the changes. Now if I go to that particular object, and if I access this object URL, I will get the access denied error because the public ACL is disabled on bucket level only. So like this, you can allow or deny the public access for the bucket and objects using ACLs. So next we'll learn about how we can control the access using the IAM permissions or IAM policies. So learn by IAM policies. I'm going to create a new bucket now. So create bucket, and bucket name can be IAM 2026, and I will keep everything as default options and create bucket. Now I want to upload two folders to this particular bucket. That is IAM 2026. Upload, add folder, and learn AWS, and I want to upload these two folders, development and assignments. First I will upload development thing development folder. Then let me upload another folder also. Upload, add folder, and assignments folder I want to upload. So once that is uploaded, I have two folders now. Now what I want to do is, consider there are two types of users. One is developers, another one is managers. So developers should have access to only these development folders. So development folders, they can read, write anything they can do in on this particular development folder. And uh, they should have the read access. Developers should have the read access for this assignment folder, but they should not have the write access for this particular assignment folder. Similarly, managers should have the read and write access for both development and assignment folder. I want to set up the permissions level like this. Then for that I can use the option IAM policies. So that I am going to show that now. So for creating IAM policies for two different types of users, I can go to IAM service first. First, I want to create two types of policy. One is development policy, another one is manager policy. So I will create the policies now. Go to policies, create policy. So once it is loaded, then so I can select the service first. Service is S3. Select S3. Then actions allowed. So here I can choose the action. I want to have the list action. First I will create a manager policy. For manager, I want to give the option called as list bucket and list all my buckets. So manager can see all the buckets. Then read access. Read access I want to give only for get objects. So I can search for get object here. So read access I can select for get object. Then for write access, I can give the permission for uh, delete object. Manager can delete the object, as well as they should have the object for put object option. That action also I have to choose. So delete object and put object I can choose. And permission management, I'm not going to do anything. So these three permissions I give in write, put and delete, and read I gave get objects, and in list I gave list object and a list bucket and list all my buckets. So now I can choose the resource. So which bucket I want to manager should have the access. I can choose any buckets, then yeah, all the buckets they can access, but I want to restrict for only particular bucket. In that case, I can choose add ARNs and I can give a resource ARN here. ARN means AWS resource number. So each resource you have created in AWS, it will have a different unique ARN. So I can copy the ARN of this IAM bucket. If I go to IAM bucket, then if I go to properties, I can copy the Amazon resource name. ARN means Amazon resource name, not number. Okay, I can copy that name. So click on add ARN. So this bucket have these particular permissions for that user. And I can choose the ARN object also. In this bucket, which object they should have the access. Now I can choose any. So managers will have the access for any folders. For developers, I will change that to only for development folder. Then conditions, I don't apply anything. Then I can click on next, and I can give a resource policy name. So policy name can be, I can give a custom manager policy, manager policy, and I can give a description. I will not give anything, and I can have a tag also. Then click on create policy. Now policy is created. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a user called as manager. Before that, I am going to create a, if for example there are multiple developer, multiple managers, then it's easy to create a group, and then I can add the users to that particular group. For that reason, I am going to create a group now. And I am create group and name it as managers. Then I can add users here. I will add the users later. I have not created the user manager user. For that reason, I'm not adding the user, but I can attach the policy now because I have already created the policy. Policy is custom manager policy. Then click on create user group. So user group managers is created now. Now I want to create a user also. You can create manager one, and I can give a AWS management console access also. User type can be just IAM user. Then I can add a custom password for that user. If I create a custom password, then I can, this is not needed. So click on next. Then user is created now. Now I can add the user to a group. Then here only I can add a user to that particular group also. So to add the group, I can select managers group. Then I can click on next. Then create user. So user is created manager one, and that user is added to the manager group also, and that the group has attached our custom policy. Now I want to log in with that particular manager one user. So I will continue, and manager one is the username, and sign in URL I can go here and I can copy, and I will open with incognito window, and I will open my console. I'm going to sign in with using that manager one user. So manager one user should be able to read and write access for all the folders in that particular bucket. And I'm going to give a username. Username is manager one. And I will add the password here. Then sign in. There is some password error, I think. Now I have logged in using this particular user. There is manager one user. And I should go to S3 now. Select S3 and go to S3. So in S3, I should be able to see all the buckets because I have the list bucket option permission is enabled. So I can see all the buckets, and I will go to IM2026 bucket, and I should be able to see both the folders and files I can see, and file also I should be able to download. If I download this file, I should be able to download. Yes, it's downloading. So I'm able to download the file. And if I want to upload the file in a development folder, that should be that should be also accessible. So if I go to IM2026, if I want to upload any file, then I can give add files, and assignments file. If I want to upload, I should be able to upload that particular file now. See, so I'm able to read and write access for in this particular bucket because I have added the bucket policy for this particular user. Similarly, if I go to this and if I want to upload any file in this particular directory, then I can do that also. So I should be able to upload because I have the access. I have added that particular bucket policy. Similarly, if I go to any other buckets here, for example, ACL2026, I can see insufficient permissions here for other buckets because I have added this in that particular policy. I have added the ARN of that IAM bucket only, not other buckets. So like this, you can create a different manager user and I can verify the access level. Now, same thing I want to do it for a development user, and developer user should be able to access only development folder, not the other folder. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to create policy first. I'm going to create policy and select the service, obviously S3, and the list permission I can give same list all my buckets and list bucket, and read I can give get object permission. Later I can restrict only for development folder. Get objects, and write I can give put object, then same, and the resource specific resource bucket I can give a ARN of that particular bucket, and go here and copy ARN and copy that, add ARN, then the resource bucket name is same IM2026, and the object name I want to give only for the download folders, or not download, development, sorry. So development folder, so we can copy that, development folder, and all the resources in that particular development folder. So now the resource ARN is like this, the bucket name slash development folder star. So add ARN, then I can click on next and review that, create policy. So I have to give the policy name custom dev policy and create policy. So policy is created now. Similarly I have to create a group, create group, developers, and user is not yet created, and I can search for that particular policy. Is custom dev policy, create user group. So user group is created, create a new user, give a username dev1, and provide management console access, and create as IAM user, give a custom password, and disable this, and click on next. And I can add a user, this user to developers group. Click on next, click on create user. So user is created. And now I am going to log in using this particular user. this particular dev user. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste it in a new incognito window. I'll open a new incognito window and I will paste that particular URL and I am going to sign in to the console. So the username dev1. So add your username and password, then click on sign in with the dev1 user. So once that is done, I should be able to access now only the development folder using the dev1 user. I have logged in using dev1 user now, and if I go to S3, search for S3 and go to that particular bucket. So if I go to any other buckets like ACL 2026, I should not be able to access because I have not enabled the access for that bucket to this user. So I should get permission denied error here. You can see insufficient permission to list objects. And if I go to that IAM bucket, let's see, go to IAM 2026 bucket and the objects should load now. Okay, I think didn't give the list object permission. I am going to add that. So the issue was like while in list bucket I've added the wrong ARN. I have to give just IAM 2026 for the bucket name, but I copied whole ARN. So that was the issue. So I have changed that now. And if I go to dev user, now I should be able to access the all the files. So all the files is visible now. And if I go to development folder, and if I want to download any files, I should be able to download because in development folder I have the read and write access. So I have the read access now. And if I want to upload some file to this particular development folder, then I should be able to upload also. Upload, add files, and upload. If I give, I should be able to upload. Yeah, so uploaded. So I can upload and I can download from this particular development folder. Then if I go to other folders like assignment folders, and if I want to download this particular file, click on download. I get the message called as access denied because I don't have the read access in this particular assignment folder. I don't have any access, read or write any access. Similarly, if I try to upload the file also, I will get the same error. Upload, add files. If I try to upload this particular file in assignment folder, and I click on upload, I will get the error upload failed because the error is access denied. So I don't have the read and write access in assignment folder. Now I want to give read access to this assignment folder for developers. I don't want to give the write access, but read access should be there for developers. Then I can go ahead and edit the policy for this particular development user. For that, I can go to policies, and I can go to custom dev policy, custom dev policy. Then I can edit this particular permissions. So it will open in a JSON file. So there are two options. One is JSON editor, one is visual editor. In JSON editor, whatever the permission I have gave, like put object, get object, list bucket, and the resources, all the actions and resources will be listed in a JSON format. I can edit this JSON file, or I can go back to visual and I can add one more permission. Select S3. Then what I want to do now is I want to give the read permission, like get object permission basically. So select get object to what your resource. Then go to specific resource and I can add the here and here. So bucket name AM2026 and the resource object name. Object name will be assignments. I want to give the read access for this particular assignment folders. Assignment star. So add ARN. Then I can click on next. Then save changes. So changes are saved now. So and if I check the IAM policy now in JSON format, I can see there is one policy here and another policy that we have added now. Get object for this assignments folder. That is also added. Now if I go to dev user and if I refresh this page and if I try to download this particular assignment file, then I should be able to download that file. Click on assignment folder, assignment file and download. So now file is getting downloaded. See, file is downloaded now. So earlier I got a permission denied error while try to download this file because the permission was not there. And if I try to upload, I should still get that permission denied error because I don't have the right access to this particular folder. Upload, got an error. Upload failed, access denied. So like this, you can give particular user group to have the read access and other group to read and write access. Like this, you can control the uh, access using the IAM policy. Also, we can have a deny access also using the IAM policy. I'm going to show that now. So now I want to deny the access for developers to the development folder, for example. For that, what I can do is I can edit the same custom dev policy. I can go here and edit. Can choose for visual, and I want to add one more permission and choose the services S3 only. And there is a option called as effect here, allow or deny. By default, everything is allowed. All the permissions I have added till now is allow. Now I want to deny the permission. Deny, and which action I want to delay? Deny is read access to the development folder. For that, I can go to read and select get object. Get object. In the specific, I can add a here and here. Bucket name is IM2026. And I want to deny the particular folder, that is development folder. Can copy development folder and star I can get. So add ARN. So that is added and I will click on next. and I will save the changes. Save changes. Okay. So I have added the one more permission is deny permission. Effect is deny for get object for this particular resource, development resource basically. Now if I go to developer user and I have logged in as dev user, and if I go to development folder, I should get the access denied error. So this is the folder, and if I go to assignments, I have the access, and if I go to assignment and I can download the file, I should be able to download file here. See, I can download the file, but if I go to development folder, there I should not be able to download the files. Get object permission is removed. You go to download, I will get the access denied error. So like this, you can have the deny permission also. So deny permission will always override the your allow permission. So if you explicitly denied some permission, then that permission is override by the earlier permission that I gave. Read access for this development model. Both the read and write access I gave in earlier permission, but now I have added the deny permission for development folder. So deny permission will override uh, the condition what I gave earlier, that is allow condition. So that's it about IAM policy. Using IAM policy, you can add both allow and deny condition for different type of users. Now let's see bucket policy. So in bucket policy, for bucket policy, I can create one more bucket. Let's create that. Create bucket policy. I can name it as 2026, and here you can see bucket policy. Public access is denied now. All is disabled. And if I click on create bucket, fail to create bucket because S3 create. Sorry, I am creating the bucket in dev user. That is not allowed. So I'm going to create bucket in my normal admin user. And one more thing, in admin level also, account level, I can disable or enable the public access. That is there in here. Block public access, and I can edit this. So by default, it is allowed. And if I disable this and I can allow only ACLs is disabled. I want to disable this, but I want to enable the using the bucket policies. Then I can enable those and I can save the changes and confirm. So like this, I can modify this, or if I want to give it is everything, I can keep it like this also. Now I want to enable only ACLs, so I can enable ACLs. So that is done. Then now I am going to create a new bucket. Go to buckets, create bucket, bucket policy 2026. Then I am going to create bucket. Now I want to make this bucket as public. For that reason, I am going to edit the permissions. First, I will upload some files first. So upload file, and you can upload any files like add files, and I will upload the images folder what I have uploaded earlier. Images, upload. Think upload folder I can give, add folder, and Go to that and select image, select upload. That will upload the files in this particular folder. So files are uploaded now. Still uploading. It will take a couple of seconds. It's uploaded now, and I can close this. Can go to bucket permissions now. Now I want to add a bucket policy for this particular bucket. So I can edit this. So bucket policy, like IAM policy, I have to add it in a JSON format. So this will take a time to download. Or if you don't know how to add the JSON files, then I can do the policy generator also. I can go to policy generator and I can give a select the type policy and other thing. So S3 bucket policy I want to do. S3 bucket policy, select that. Effect is allow. The principal is which users I can give the access. I want to give for all the users, public users access I want to give. Then the actions I can give the read access to all the users. So I can select the action, that particular action, that is get object action. So I can go here and select for get object. Get object. Then Amazon ARN, which is this particular bucket. So I can go to properties and I can copy that particular ARN. Copy that and add here and add statement. Now I can generate policy. So this is the policy. I can copy this and I can paste that in here. Edit policy and sorry, not this one. So if I go to permissions and here I should have the bucket policy options. This one is bucket policy, and if I edit, I can add the JSON content here. So if I added this, you can see public access blocked because block public access settings are turned on for this account. I'm going to disable that. So first I can add the policy now, then save changes. So it is denied because of that error. So first I'm going to disable that particular public block public one. So I'm going to edit this and I'm going to disable this. Save changes, confirm. And if I go to bucket policy now and edit, you can click on this and you can disable here also on account level also. Earlier I have showed, right? So save changes, confirm, because I should disable from account level first. So then I can do this. I can, if I refresh this now, and now I can add that particular policy. Now save changes. Still I'm getting an error. Action does not apply to any resources and statement. Okay. You have to check this. I'm going to generate the JSON again. So I will give the S3 bucket policy principal is star and action is Same get object. You can search for get object and ARN. I want to give the ARN of that particular folder, that is images folder. So I am in images folder now and I can copy that particular ARN and I go to generator and I will give that ARN slash star. So on generate policy. So it has generated the policy and I can copy this now and I am going to edit this. Control A, Control V, then save changes. Okay. For some reason I am getting the same error. That is, I think, because in resource it is still giving this bucket policy 2026. It's not adding that images folder. Its generator didn't added that. I think that's why I got that error. I'm going to manually add that slash images slash star, and if I now save the changes, it is saved now. So I have added the bucket policy now, and the images folder should have the public access now. And if I go here, go to that bucket policy and go to images folder. If I want to, if I open this URL now, I should be able to access the image now. And if I disable that particular bucket policy, then I should not be able to access that particular bucket, that particular image. If I go here and go to permissions, and if I remove this particular policy, delete. So bucket policy is deleted now. And if I go to that particular bucket and images folder and go to that particular object, and if I think this is opening in cache, and if I refresh this, I get the access denied error. So like this I can using bucket policy, I can allow the uh, particular object to access from bucket policy. Now let's see how we can add other bucket policies also using for particular users or particular groups. If I want to give the access using bucket policy, I can do that also. Now I have the custom bucket policy. Now I have added like this, like JSON ID, and I can give any SID here. SID is like just a statement ID. I can give it anything here. Then effect is hello, and the principal is I have to add the AWS ARN of the particular user. I am using the dev1 user now, and here I have to change the account ID. Account ID I can copy from my account. I'm going to copy that and I will add that account ID here. That is one thing. Then action is list bucket. This bucket the one should be able to list this bucket. Then the day1 user should be allow that user to change the account ID here. So account ID here. Then get object. I want to give the permission for all the contents in this particular bucket. This is how I can add a bucket policy also. Now if I go here and using for dev user, and if I check on buckets, and the bucket is bucket policy bucket, right? That is not listed now. I think I have to refresh the page. So bucket policy 2026. If I open this bucket, the dev user don't have the access now for this bucket. And if I add this particular bucket policy instead of IAM policy, I should be able to access that dev user should be able to access this particular bucket now. If I add this particular bucket policy, now I am going to add this Control C and add the bucket policy. Go to bucket policy 2026, permissions, edit, and I will allow the user to access this bucket. So day one, this is the ARN for that user. Yeah, get object and list bucket permission I have given. So click on save changes now. Got an error. I think invalid resource. There should be some error here. I will. Yeah, I think list bucket here. I have to give the star. I click on save changes now. Oh, there is one more error. Let's see that. I think the issue is like this. I just have to list the bucket, so I can just give the bucket name. Now if I click on save changes, yeah, it's saved. So we should be the syntax should be correct, the JSON file. So now if I go to dev1 user and if I refresh this, I should be able to access. Now you can see objects are loading. Now you can see images folder is accessible, and if I go to images and get objects also there, so I can download the file also. Then go here and open that particular file. So if I go to that file and if I click on download, I should be able to download as a dev user because I have the get object permission. Yeah. So this is how I can control the access using the bucket policy also instead of IAM policy. So now if I want to keep the bucket policy based on the tags. So I have one more bucket policy here. So bucket policy with tag. We are going to edit that now. So I have added one more bucket policy. In this bucket policy, similar to previous policy, and day one user should be able to list the bucket, and day one user should be able to get the bucket. And I have added one more additional condition here. In the condition, I have added the string equals so existing object tag. If the tag access is yes, then they should be able to get that object. If the access is no, or any access tag is not there, then they should not be able to access that particular object. So I'm going to apply this policy now. So control A, control C, and if I go to bucket and I'm going to edit this policy now. Control A, control V. So I think everything is correct. Let's save changes. So bucket policy is edited now. Before editing the bucket policy, I think I should add the tag now first. So let's add tags. Bucket policy 2026 images. For first image, I will add the tag axis as yes. So add tags access yes, and the save changes. And similarly for second image, I'm going to give the tag as no. Add tag access no. Then save changes. I think I've added in small letter on lace. Yeah, that's good. And close this. And if I go to add for all other images, I have not added any tags. Now if I go to dev user and if I click on images and the first image, I should be able to download the image because I have the get permission. So if I click on download, I have the access. So if I go to second image now, I click on download, I get the error access denied. And if I go similarly, if I go to third image or any image, because I don't have any tags on these particular images, and if I click on download, I should get the access denied error. Like this, for each object, if based on the tags also, I can control the permissions using bucket policies. Yeah, that's it about the permissions and access. So we can control the access using three methods. One is ACLs, that is not recommended method. Next, other two usages are or use cases are, you can control the permission using IAM policies, or you can control the control using bucket policies. The recommended method is using the bucket policies. So that's it. So we can control the granular permissions using the bucket policies and IAM policies. Let's see on the next chapter now. So next we are going to learn how we can protect your S3 data using versioning, cross-region replication or encryption. So let's start that now. Let's check versioning and encryption now. For that I will create a new bucket. While creating the bucket, we can enable the versioning and encryption both. So I will name it as version bucket 2026. Then here we have the option to enable the versioning. So versioning is nothing but you can, for example, you have modified you have added one file, and later you have modified that file, and you have uploaded that file back to the S3 bucket. Then if you have done some mistakes while modifying that file, and if you want to go back to the previous version of that file, then if the bucket versioning is enabled, then you can go back to that previous version also. So you can keep the different versions of your same file. For that, versioning is very much helpful. Then another option is encryption. So by default encryption, it can have the AWS Amazon S3 encryption, or you can use the KMS encryption. KMS is another AWS service, so it will be charged. That service is separate service, so separate charge will be applicable for if you choose KMS. For now, I am going to use default encryption only, so that encryption is enabled now. Now I'm going to create bucket. So now bucket is encrypted, as well as versioning is also enabled. So if I go to versioning bucket that I have created now, now I am going to upload some file. So before uploading the file, I want to create one file. So I can create a file called as version file or something. So new text document, version file, and I can edit that file and can add it as version 1 and save. Now I'm going to upload that file, add files, and the version file, and upload. So now I uploaded now version 1 of my file, and sometime later then I want to update this file, so I change it to version 2 and save it, and again I can upload that file again, add files, same file. So I like this, I can upload multiple version, and if I want to do one more version, then I can save it and I can upload. Later I can see all the version of the same file also, because I have enabled the versioning on this bucket. Version file, upload. So I have uploaded three versions. So now if I check this bucket, only one object is there. But if I enable this here, there is option called as show versions, and if I enable that, I can see three different versions of this file. And by this is the latest version. And for example, there is say some mistake in this latest version, and if I want to go back to the previous version, then I can just delete this latest version. Go back and delete. You can type permanently delete. So, and if I go ahead and see the files, there are two versions are still there. And if I disable this also, the version 2 file will be there, because what third version I have deleted. And if I delete the entire object, then what will happen? Let's see. Will it delete all the version of the file? Let's see that. So I have deleted the object, and if I see here, there are no files now. And if I enable show versions, the two versions will be there, and one more marker will be added. We'll call it as delete marker, and it will have any. It doesn't have any file, but any data also you can see 0 bytes, and other two versions will have 2 bytes of data. So there will be if file is deleted, there will be one marker, but the versions will be it will be there. Versions will not get deleted. This is how we can enable the versioning and encryption in buckets. Let's do this via CLI now. Let's create a bucket using CLI, AWS S3 MB, and the bucket name CLI versioning 2026. So this should create an bucket now on AWS. So bucket is created. Now I want to enable the versioning. So to enable the versioning, we have the AWS CLI command. I can go AWS CLI S3, add a versioning. So I can search this, and I will get the documentation for bucket. Put bucket versioning is the command, and I can go to the examples, and I can copy this command AWS S3 APA put bucket versioning and the bucket name, then the versioning configuration. I can make it as status enabled, so that it will versioning will be enabled. So if I go here and check that bucket now, this versioning CLI version bucket. If I refresh this page, so CLI version 2026 is the bucket, and if I see the properties, bucket versioning is still disabled. You can see it is disabled, and if I want to enable it via CLI, I can do that with this command. So command I am going to S3 APA put bucket versioning, and the bucket name I am going to change. That is, this is the bucket name. So S3 for S3 API command, there is no need to give S3 colon two slashes, but if you are using only AWS S3, then you have to add S3 colon double quote, non double slashes. So status is enabled, and if I click enter now, so this should enable the versioning. And if I go ahead and see the versioning here and refresh this page, now it should enable the versioning. So you can see bucket versioning is enabled. So this is how you can enable the versioning. Similarly, you can enable the encryption also. Let's see how we can enable the encryption using the CLI. For that, let's see the documentation first. Encryption, put bucket encryption. Click on that and go for examples. And this is how we can, this is the command AWS S3 API. And I will paste that. And you can see S3 API put bucket versioning, bucket name I have to change. and server side encryption configuration, then rule, and which type of encryption I want to enable, that you can give here. So this is how we can enable the encryption also. Here I have to change the bucket name, that's it. Otherwise everything is same. So this is how we can enable the encryption. And if I go ahead and see the properties of that bucket, encryption should be enabled now. Default encryption, that is enabled. So this is how we can enable the encryption and versioning via CLI also. Now let's see next other another topic called as cross-region replication. So to that, so cross-region application means if one bucket is in one region and if you want to replicate same bucket contents to the another bucket with a different region, then I can enable the cross-region replication. So if the data centers in one region is not working, then still you want to have the data, then you can copy that data to region, another region also, so that another region will be available. And another use case is like latency. So for example, I have created a one bucket in Mumbai region, and some client is on US, and if they want to just fetch that file, then latency will be more because the bucket is in Mumbai region. But if the replication is enabled, cross-region application is enabled, then they can just pull the fetch the file from their region only, say like US East1 or US East2, so that I can replicate. So like this, you can replicate two buckets, one bucket to two different region basically. So I'm going to create two buckets and then I'm going to enable the replication now. First, I will create bucket in Mumbai region, cross region, application source. I can create, and also I want to enable the versioning also for this. Enable that, then create bucket. Similarly, I am going to change the region now. For example, US East 1. Then there I am going to create another bucket as a target bucket. Create bucket now. Bucket name, replica target 2026, and I want to enable the versioning for this also. Then create bucket. Now I want to upload the file to these buckets. First I will upload the file to replica source, this bucket. For that I think I will use the CLI only to upload the files. I will create one file, replica file, and then I will add some contents and save that. So to upload the file, AWS S3 CP, then the file name to the bucket. The bucket name is source bucket. That is this. So file is uploaded now. So if I refresh this, the file is uploaded, and if I do this again, it should create one more version. So if I enable the versioning, if I click on show versions, there are two versions now, and if I do this again, it should have one more version. So So now cross-region replication is not yet enabled. I am going to enable that now. For that, I can just go for management and I can create a replication rule here. Create replication rule and you can give a name US East and status is enabled. Priority I can give in the source bucket and the destination bucket. Both I can give. So source bucket will be this only replication source. The region AP South 1. Then you can limit the scope to only for some files, or for example, you want to replicate only images files or only documents or only source code. Like that, you can have the filter or you can apply to all the objects. So I'm going to select apply to all the objects. So all the objects of this bucket should be replicated into destination bucket. So destination bucket, I can give a bucket in this account and I can browse that S3 bucket. My replication destination will be replication target bucket. I can choose that path. So I have, then I can create a new role or IAM role also I have to select. I will just select create new role. Encryption if I can, if I want to enable, I can enable or I can choose like that. Then I can click on save. So now replication is enabled from source to destination. And while creating replication, it will ask like you can enable a one-time batch operation job like existing object. No, do not replicate existing object. If you want to replicate existing object, then choose yes. Or if I don't want to replicate existing object, then I can click on no. I want to replicate existing object also that file I have uploaded. Then I can click on submit so that it will can give a completion report and other things. You don't want any report, then you can click on save. So replication rule is created now. You can see this one rule is created. So if I go to new the buckets that I have created, that is target bucket. Currently there is no file, but if I upload one more version, then that version should be replicated to this bucket also now. So now if I can see there is a file in this target bucket, and if I click on show version, the recent version will be there. So like this, if I add one more version, that I am uploading this to source bucket, but target bucket also, then there should be new version because replication is enabled. So same file is stored in different region. See, you can see the different versions now here. So like this, you can create replication, cross region replications. Let's go for source bucket and delete the file. Let's see whether that file will get deleted in target bucket also. So if I go to source bucket and if I delete this file, so file is deleted. And if I click on show versions, there is a delete marker type here. And if I go to target bucket now, this is the target bucket. And here the file is still there. This is not yet deleted. So replication, when you enable replication file, if the source file is deleted also in destination, it will not get deleted. And there will be no and marker also, delete marker also is not there. So this is how we can enable replication between the two region, and I can reduce the latency, and also it will protect the data. So if for one region, if for some reason one region is not available, then second region you can pull the files from second region. So these are the three types, like versioning, encryption, and cross-region replication are the types to protect your data in AWS S3. That's the end of this chapter. Let's go for next chapter now. So in this final chapter, let's learn on how we can monitor or analyze the data in S3. So let's start that now. So on logging and monitoring, first let's learn server access log. For that, I'm going to create one more bucket and just I will name it as server access log, server access, and 2026. I'm going to name it as. Then I can just click on create bucket. I have to create two buckets actually. One is for main bucket and another one is for to store your logs basically. So server access log 2026. So and I can click on create bucket now. And to store the logs, we have to change some settings in server access log bucket. Here I have to go to permissions and I can change the ACLs here. If I go to ACLs and first I will enable that ACL. And I can save those changes. I can acknowledge this and save changes. And then if I go to access logs, access control list, I have to enable this log delivery group actually. So I'm going to edit this, and the log delivery group I will give the list and write permission for objects. Then save changes. This is on target log bucket. This in this bucket we're going to store the log of first bucket that I have created, that is server access 2026. I'm going to store logs of this bucket. Now for that, in this bucket I am going to enable server access logging. In management I can check on server access logs, not in management but in properties. So in properties we can check for server access logins and edit that and enable that. And we can set the destination bucket. You can browse S3 and select the destination bucket. Destination bucket is this one, server access log 2026. Then choose destination. Then you can the format and other things we can keep it in default and save changes. Now whenever whatever the event are happened on this bucket will be logged to that particular log bucket. The events like uploading the file, downloading the file, those things. So I can add files and I can upload files. In documents I have some of the files, so I can upload those. Upload files and close, and I can upload other files too. So these events will be captured in the logs basically. Both upload, download, all the actions logs will be logged. So you will get to know who are accessing your bucket, who are accessing which object, and from which IP they are accessing. Those details you will get in the logs. So we can have the monitoring for our buckets like this way. So for these loggings, it will take some time. So if I check on that log bucket also, that events will not be logged now. It will take some time. So no objects you can see in this log bucket. It will take a couple of hours time basically. So for demo purpose, I have created one more bucket where I have set up logs. So I think that is this bucket, and you can see the logs here. Like this, you will get the different files. Logs are generated. So we can download one of the file and you can check the content of that particular file. And if I open that particular file now, so this is the content basically, like IP address and bucket name and the time. Those details will get these type of details. So we can check this on how we can read this. We can read the format. Those things I can we can take the documentation help. So server access log S3 format, and in this documentation we'll get all field details basically. So like this we will get the logs details, and these are the fields like bucket owner details we will get, and bucket time, remote IP, which IP, the client IP basically. Those details, and the request ID, then the which operation, whether they are downloading or uploading the object, those kind of details. Key, request URI, HTTP status, whether that operation is success or not. If it is 200, then it is success. And the error code, and the bytes with how many bytes they have sent, and object size, total time taken, and turnaround time, referrer, user agent, version ID, host ID. In this, like this, there are a lot of fields will be available. So you can read this document to understand the particular format of that particular log file basically. So this is one type of logging we can using server access log. We can monitor the your AWS S3 bucket. Other ways like we can use other one more service is there in AWS, that is cloudtrail. You can use that also to logging or monitoring your AWS S3 bucket. And also there are other options like if we open any bucket, for example, I will open that particular bucket that I had for logging. And in any bucket, we have the option for metrics, and here generally we'll get the data for metrics also. And now there are no data, but generally you can check total bucket size, total number of objects in that particular bucket, and storage class analysis. So, like before applying your life cycle rule, you can check the storage class analysis. So then based on that analysis, you can make the decision on making the life cycle rules to transition from one storage class to another storage class, like from standard to standard IA. Those kind of decision you can make based on this particular analysis. And the replication metrics, those details we will get on these metrics. So you can uh, get the monitoring and analysis data on this metrics tab also. So these are the options, like I can monitor the data from using server access log, or you can use another service called as cloudtrail, or you can check the metrics from the S3 bucket only. So that's it on this particular chapter. So we have learned one AWS service now, that is AWS S3, and in coming days I'm going to cover other AWS services. So stay tuned for that, and please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.